There are people who walked from London to Rome, over 1,000 miles, on foot, through mountains, across rivers in all weather. Medieval pilgrims made these journeys regularly. 50 miles a day was normal, not exceptional, not heroic, just normal travel pace for people who needed to get somewhere. Merchants walked trade routes that crossed continents. Messengers covered 40 to 60 miles daily delivering information. Armies marched 20 to 30 miles per day while carrying weapons and armor. And they did this day after day for weeks or months without the injuries, exhaustion, or breakdowns that plague modern hikers after a single long day. For over 1,000 years, walking was transportation. People covered distances that seem impossible to us without thinking twice. Then cars replaced walking. Sitting became normal. And within a few generations, humans lost the ability to do what their bodies were designed for. Now you struggle to hike 15 miles. Your feet hurt. Your legs ache. Your energy crashes. You need rest days to recover from what medieval people did daily without rest. That's not because they were tougher or had better genetics. It's because everything about modern life, your food, your shoes, your movement patterns, has been designed to make you weaker. This is why medieval travelers could walk all day while you can't. Welcome to Olden Path. If you've ever wondered how people walked 50 miles before cars existed, hit subscribe and the bell. This might change how you think about what your body can do. The first reason is movement patterns. Medieval people walked constantly from childhood, not exercise walking, not hiking, just moving on foot as part of daily life. Children walked to fields, to markets, to neighboring villages. They walked to fetch water, gather firewood, tend animals. By age 10, a medieval child had walked thousands of miles. Their bodies adapted, tendons strengthened, bones densified in response to impact. Feet developed natural arches and tough skin. Cardiovascular systems became efficient at sustained, low-intensity output. The adaptations were built gradually over years of consistent use. By adulthood, walking 50 miles was physically possible because their bodies had been conditioned for it since birth. Modern people sit. Children sit in cars, sit in school, sit watching screens. Most people spend 12 to 16 hours per day sitting or lying down. They might walk a few thousand steps if they're active, maybe a mile or two total. The body never develops the adaptations that make long-distance walking easy. Tendons stay weak, bones stay light, feet stay soft, cardiovascular efficiency stays low. Then at age 30 or 40, someone decides to hike 15 miles. The body can't handle it because it's never been conditioned for sustained walking. The feet blister because the skin has never toughened. The legs ache because the muscles have never learned efficient walking mechanics. The cardiovascular system struggles because it's adapted for sitting, not moving. You're asking your body to do something it has no preparation for. Medieval people never asked their bodies to do anything unusual. Walking 50 miles was just more of what they did every day. The second reason is footwear. Medieval travelers wore thin leather shoes or boots. The soles were flexible, maybe a quarter inch of leather between foot and ground. You felt every stone, every root, every variation in terrain. That direct ground contact forced proper walking mechanics. Your foot had to land carefully. You couldn't heel strike hard because it hurt. You naturally landed midfoot or forefoot, which uses your arch as a spring. Your foot muscles worked with every step, flexing and gripping to maintain balance. Over time, your feet became strong. The muscles in your feet and lower legs developed to handle the work. Your gait became efficient because inefficient walking hurt. Modern hiking boots have thick, cushioned soles, rigid arch support, ankle support. The boots do the work your feet should be doing. Your foot muscles atrophy because they're not needed. Your gait becomes inefficient because the cushioning absorbs impact regardless of how you walk. You can heel strike hard into cushioned soles without immediate pain, but that impact travels up your legs into your knees and hips. Over 15 miles, that repetitive impact causes damage. Your joints ache, your muscles fatigue. You blame the distance, but the problem is your shoes. They're preventing your feet from working properly. Studies comparing barefoot populations to shoe-wearing populations show this clearly. People who grow up walking barefoot have stronger feet, better balance, and fewer foot problems than people who wear shoes. Their arches are higher and more flexible. Their toes spread wide for stability. Their gait is more efficient. When researchers put modern people in minimal footwear and teach them proper walking mechanics, their efficiency improves dramatically. They can walk farther with less effort. Medieval travelers had minimal footwear by necessity. Modern hikers wear boots designed to support weak feet. Those boots ensure feet stay weak. It's a cycle. Weak feet need support. Support prevents strengthening. Feet stay weak. You buy more supportive boots. The footwear industry profits from keeping your feet weak. If people wore minimal shoes and developed strong feet, they wouldn't need expensive hiking boots. That's unacceptable to an industry built on selling solutions to problems their products create. The third reason is energy systems. Medieval travelers were fat adapted. Their diet was high in fat and protein, moderate in carbohydrates from vegetables and whole grains, bread, cheese, dried meat, nuts. These foods provided sustained energy through fat metabolism. When you burn fat for fuel, your energy is stable. Fat provides 9 calories per gram. Your body carries tens of thousands of calories of stored fat even if you're lean. You can walk all day on fat metabolism without eating much because you're accessing stored energy. Your blood sugar stays stable. You don't get hungry every few hours. You just keep moving. Medieval travelers could walk from dawn to dusk on a breakfast of bread and cheese, maybe a small meal at midday. The fat in their diet kept them fueled. Their bodies were adapted to burning fat efficiently because they always ate that way. Modern hikers are sugar burners. The standard modern diet is high in carbohydrates, particularly refined carbs and sugar, cereal for breakfast, sandwiches for lunch, pasta for dinner, snacks throughout the day. This diet trains your body to burn glucose preferentially. When you burn glucose for fuel, your energy is unstable. Carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram, less than half what fat provides, and your body can only store about 2,000 calories of glycogen, your stored form of glucose. Walk for a few hours at moderate intensity, and you deplete those glycogen stores. Your energy crashes. You get hungry and irritable. You need to eat more carbohydrates to continue. This is called bonking or hitting the wall. Endurance athletes know it well. The solution they are taught is to consume carbohydrates constantly during activity. Energy gels, sports drinks, bars keep the glucose coming, but this doesn't solve the underlying problem. You're still dependent on external fuel. You still crash if you stop eating. Medieval travelers never bonked because they weren't burning glucose primarily. They were burning fat. Their stored energy lasted all day. Modern endurance research is rediscovering this. Studies on fat-adapted athletes show they can perform at high intensity while burning primarily fat. They don't need constant carbohydrate intake. Their energy is stable for hours. They recover faster because they are not depleting glycogen stores to the same degree. The research validates what medieval travelers demonstrated empirically. Fat adaptation enables sustained physical activity without constant fueling, but mainstream nutrition advice still pushes high carbohydrate intake for active people. That advice serves the sports nutrition industry. If people don't need energy gels, sports drinks, and recovery bars, those companies lose sales. Fat-adapted athletes need less supplementation. They can eat regular food and perform well. That's threatening to an industry built on selling specialized products. The fourth reason is load carrying. Medieval travelers carried their belongings efficiently, a pack or bag worn high on the back, close to the body's center of gravity. The weight distributed across the shoulders and hips, maybe 20 to 30 pounds total. They carried only essentials, extra clothing, food, basic tools, fire starter materials, nothing unnecessary because every pound made walking harder. They learned through experience how to pack efficiently, heavier items close to the back, lighter items toward the outside, weight distributed evenly side to side. The pack became an extension of the body. You barely noticed it after hours of walking because it was balanced properly. Modern hikers carry too much and carry it poorly. 40 to 50 pound packs are common. The weight is often packed incorrectly. Heavy items at the bottom or far from the back. The pack pulls you backward. Your back muscles work constantly to stay upright. After a few miles, your back aches, your shoulders hurt. You tire quickly because you're fighting the pack. Modern hiking culture promotes gear. You need a tent, a sleeping bag, a cooking system, extra clothes, first aid kit, water purification, navigation tools. The list expands endlessly. Ultralight backpacking tries to counter this by minimizing weight, but even ultralight packs are often heavier than what medieval travelers carried because modern people can't tolerate discomfort. They need padded sleeping pads, insulated jackets, multiple layers. Medieval travelers slept on the ground or in basic shelters. They tolerated cold and discomfort because they had no choice. Modern hikers carry comfort, and that comfort weighs pounds. The fifth reason is pace and rhythm. Medieval travelers walked at a sustainable pace all day. Not fast, not slow, just steady. 3 to 4 miles per hour on flat terrain. Slower uphill, faster downhill. They walked in rhythm, steps falling in consistent cadence. Breathing matched to stride. The body settled into a flow state where walking became almost automatic. Your mind could wander while your body kept moving. This sustainable pace meant they could walk 10 to 12 hours without significant fatigue. 50 miles in a long day. 40 miles in a comfortable day, 30 miles in a short day. The pace was calibrated to what the body could maintain for extended periods. Modern hikers walk inefficiently. They start too fast, burning energy in the first few hours. They take long breaks, which allows muscles to stiffen. They vary pace constantly, which prevents settling into rhythm. Their stride is uneven because they're not accustomed to walking. They overstride, landing heel first with legs extended. This wastes energy and causes joint impact. Medieval travelers had efficient gaits developed through years of walking, short strides, feet landing under the body, minimal up and down movement, all forward motion, every step optimized through unconscious refinement. The sixth reason is mental approach. Medieval travelers saw walking as normal, not exercise, not a challenge, just transportation. They didn't psych themselves up for a long day. They didn't celebrate completing distance. They just walked because that's how you got places. This mental framing matters. If you think of walking as difficult, your brain looks for reasons to stop. You notice every discomfort. You focus on how far remains. You tire mentally, which makes you tire physically. If walking is just what you do, your brain doesn't question it. Discomfort is normal. Distance is irrelevant. You just keep walking until you arrive. Medieval travelers had this mindset from childhood. Walking was like breathing, something you did without thinking about it. Modern hiking culture frames long-distance walking as achievement, something to be proud of, something worth posting on social media. This framing makes walking feel special, which makes it feel difficult. You're constantly aware that you're doing something unusual. That awareness creates mental fatigue. You're monitoring yourself, checking how you feel, wondering if you can continue. That mental overhead drains energy. Medieval travelers had no such overhead. They walked without self-monitoring because walking wasn't special. The mental energy saved translated to physical endurance. Your brain wasn't fighting your body. It was just letting the body do what bodies do. The seventh reason is recovery patterns. Medieval travelers didn't take rest days. They walked day after day for weeks during long journeys. Their bodies adapted to continuous use. Muscles stayed warm. Joints stayed mobile. Any minor damage repaired during sleep. They never fully rested long enough for major stiffness to set in. Modern hikers walk one long day, then take a rest day because they're sore. But that rest day allows muscles to tighten completely. Inflammation increases. When you resume walking, you're starting cold. The first few miles hurt until you warm up again. Then you tire quickly because your body hasn't adapted to continuous use. The cycle continues. Walk, rest, walk, rest. You never develop the adaptations that make continuous walking easy. Endurance athletes know that consistency matters more than intensity. Walking 40 miles twice a week is harder than walking 20 miles 5 days a week. The frequent stimulus allows adaptation without excessive damage. Medieval travelers had that frequent stimulus built into daily life. They were always walking. Their bodies stayed adapted. Modern hikers train sporadically. A long hike every few weeks. The body never fully adapts because the stimulus isn't consistent. You're perpetually in the damage and recovery cycle rather than the adapted maintenance cycle. The eighth reason is terrain familiarity. Medieval travelers knew their routes. They'd walked the same roads many times. They knew where the hills were, where water was available, where shelter existed. This familiarity reduced mental load. No navigation decisions, no uncertainty about distance or conditions, just familiar walking. That mental ease translated to physical efficiency. Modern hikers walk unfamiliar trails. They're constantly navigating, checking maps, looking for markers. That mental work costs energy. They're also uncertain about what's coming. Is this hill the last one? How much farther to camp? Uncertainty creates anxiety. Anxiety increases perceived effort. The same physical work feels harder when you're anxious about completion. The ninth reason is social factors. Medieval travelers often walked in groups. Pilgrims traveled in bands for safety. Merchants joined caravans. Walking with others created accountability and distraction. You kept pace with the group. You talked to pass time. The social interaction made the distance feel shorter. Modern hikers often walk alone or in small groups that spread out. Walking alone means you're stuck in your own head. Every discomfort feels amplified. Every mile feels longer. Solo hiking has benefits, but endurance isn't one of them. Medieval travelers understood that companionship made long distances easier. Here's what connects everything. Medieval travelers could walk 50 miles because their entire lives prepared them for it. Movement from childhood, minimal footwear that strengthened feet, fat-adapted metabolism, efficient load carrying, sustainable pace, mental framing of walking as normal, continuous use without excessive rest, familiar terrain, social support. Every factor worked together to enable sustained distance. Modern life undermines every factor. Sitting from childhood, cushioned shoes that weaken feet, sugar-burning metabolism, excessive pack weight, inefficient pace, mental framing of walking as difficult, sporadic training, unfamiliar terrain, solo hiking. Every factor works against sustained distance. The modern fitness industry industry makes this worse. Gyms teach you to exercise in artificial environments, treadmills, stair climbers, ellipticals. These machines don't prepare you for real walking. They remove terrain variation, eliminate load carrying, and create artificial movement patterns. You can train in a gym for months and still struggle with a 15-mile hike because gym fitness doesn't transfer to real-world movement. Medieval people had real-world fitness developed through real-world movement. Their strength and endurance were functional because they were developed through function. The outdoor industry also fails. It sells you expensive gear while ignoring the fundamentals. Buy better boots, buy a lighter pack, buy trekking poles. But the gear doesn't fix weak feet, poor metabolism, or inefficient movement. It just makes walking slightly less uncomfortable while keeping you dependent on products. If the outdoor industry taught people to strengthen feet, adapt to fat burning, and walk consistently, people wouldn't need as much gear. They'd walk better and farther in minimal equipment. That's bad for business, so the focus stays on gear. Some modern hikers are figuring this out. Ultralight backpackers minimize weight. Barefoot runners strengthen feet. Low-carb athletes adapt to fat burning. Long-distance through hikers develop through continuous walking. These people are rediscovering what medieval travelers knew intuitively, that walking distance is possible when you prepare the body properly and remove the obstacles modern life creates. But these hikers are niche. Mainstream hiking culture still promotes gear, high-carb fueling, and sporadic training. The results speak for themselves. Most people can't walk 15 miles without suffering. If this explained why you struggle with distance, that medieval people walked easily, subscribe to Olden Path and hit the bell. Share this with people who think long-distance walking requires special genetics or training. Comment and tell me which factor you're going to fix first. This isn't just about walking. It's about understanding that modern life makes you weaker in every way while selling you solutions that don't address the real problems.